How to install Steam on Pop! OS Linux 22.04. Hi, I'm Paul, and I am the lead research technician at the How to Linux Research Labs, and I am also the administrator of the Pop! OS Linux group on Facebook. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so today's video I'm going to show you how to install Steam on Pop! OS Linux 22.04, and I'm going to use the apt package manager to accomplish this. I'm not going to use snaps, flatpaks, app images, or compile from source, or any of the pop repos, either from the command line or the pop shop. I'm going to use the standalone .deb file from the Steam site, and I'm going to use apt to install it. Okay, so you can see here I'm actually in a pop session here. Okay, this is my NeoFetch screen here. Okay, so I'm gonna install Steam on here. Okay, now I'm gonna use apt, and well, first let me show you that I don't already have Steam installed. So we'll go through the folders here real quick, just to verify that it's not here, and then when we're done, we can see that it actually went through and installed because of the steps that I just took in this video. You can see it's not here. Okay, so when we're done, we'll come back and we'll spot it, and we'll try to launch it from the GUI and the command line. Now, one thing I do want to touch on is that I'm not sure if it's going to install the repo URL to our sources list or not, since I'm not manually adding the PPA key and the repo to my sources list manually. So I'm going to be interested. I think it's going to do it anyway, even though we're just doing apt. So we'll take a look at the sources list here, and you can see it's not listed here. So when we're done, come back and see if it's been added here or not. You can see it's not here right now. So that would be a good that's like a really good benefit of using apt, because if it's going to actually put the repo URL in our sources list, then whenever you run your apt update upgrade command, it should check for new versions of the Steam client and pull it in. Although I think you can just open up the Steam client and check for updates that way. So I'm a little hazy on some of that when it comes to Steam, since it seems to kind of update itself. So yeah, so I'm just going to download and install the deb file, and then check and see if it's been added here, which may or may not necessarily be relevant, because I think when you open Steam, it checks for updates, which I think might be the same thing as if you had it. If you added the repo the repo to your sources list. Anyway, so I'm a little hazy on the whole Steam thing as far as some of the mechanism, of how it updates, and whether you need to, have the source repo added to your sources list or not. But if it puts it in here, fine. If not, then I think if you just open the Steam client and then check for updates, that might be the best way. That might be a really good way of keeping it up to date anyway. Okay, so we'll come back and we'll check and see if there's been a new entry here when we're done. Okay, so you can get there from the pop shop. You open the pop shop, go up here to the hamburger menu, and system software sources and extra sources. That's how you get to your sources. You can also get there, from your file manager or from the terminal. But if you want the GUI way of doing it, this is your repo manager here. You can also install a program called Software and Updates. I think it also allows you to check your sources list as well. But I'll just use the pop shop for now. So we'll X that out, and then we'll close that. Okay, so I think we're all laid some of the groundwork, touched upon a few things I wanted to touch on before I got into actually installing it. Okay, so let's also check that I don't have it actually downloaded, the deb file, okay, already. Okay, as you can see, it's not here, so then when we're done downloading, we'll check it here, and we'll go ahead and install it from here. Okay, so I think we're all squared up here. and we checked everything. I think I'm all good to go to the next step. So I'm going to pop open my browser. I'm going to go to the Steam page here. This is their home page, store.steampower.com. Okay, there's a few buttons down here, but you can also do the same thing from right here. Install Steam, and then of course once you're all done, I mean, for the video I'm not going to log in, but you should also have a Steam account so you can log in and actually get the most out of your Steam desktop client. Okay, so install Steam. Don't really have to scroll down too far, just kind of focus on the top here. I'm on Linux now, so I don't have to worry about Windows, Mac, or Chrome OS. So I'm right where I want to be. Okay, install Steam, and you see it's going to download the deb file there. Okay, so click on that, and it's a very, very quick download. Okay, so that's it for the browser, I do believe. Okay, we'll go back to the terminal here, and we'll spot it again. Okay, there it is. steamlatest.deb. Okay, we're all squared up and ready to use apt to install this deb file, to use this deb installer and install the Steam client. Okay, so I'm going to clear on this, and I'm going to key in the command to use apt to install it. Now it's not going to be sudo apt install package name. I'm gonna go sudo apt install, and then it'll be a /. See what I did there? /. Keyed in the S, and then without typing another key in, another character, I'm going to tab it, and since Steam is the only S in there, it auto completes it. So it's a // when you're going to use apt to install it. Okay, so here's the proper syntax command here. Sudo apt install // steamlatest.deb. Okay, we're all squared up, and I can go ahead and hit enter on that. And I do believe apt will resolve dependencies, which I think that all these are here. Yeah, these are all that's a lot of dependencies, right? So yeah, additional packages I do believe is another way of saying dependencies. So you can scroll down. These are suggested. You can do on your own later. I'm gonna skip these for now, and just go with these new packages, also known as dependencies, I guess. Okay, so I don't got to key in Y because the capital Y means that's going to be the default. Okay, so if I just enter, or you can key in Y, that's fine as well. I'm just going to leave it blank, and the default will be Y. So it's going to download the dependencies, and it's going to install the dependencies along with the Steam client. And it's going pretty quickly here, and I'll be back when it's done. Okay, all done. That took a couple of minutes. Everything went flawlessly. No errors, no faults, no crashes. You can see we're here at the bottom here. I don't worry about this. This is okay, I do believe. I've seen it before, and it doesn't seem to be any kind of nothing that's going to crash it's not going to obstruct our installation in our usage. Okay, so we're good here. So we're clear on that. Minimize that. And I wanted to see if that had added any entry to our sources list. So back to PopShop, back to this section here, and then extra sources tab here. Okay, it did add something here. Okay, these are the defaults that come with it. So we'll arrow down, and that was there before. This one here, this Steam Beta, that's been added. That was new. That wasn't there at the beginning of the video, but it's been. You see how that's black and bold, and this Steam Beta is kind of it's not bold. It's like just regular shade there, which indicates to me that it's not active. And I don't want to deal with the beta anyway, so I'm not going to worry about the beta. Although I think maybe you can also install it from within the Steam client or something like. I'm not sure exactly, but I would just steer clear of beta. So let's just check and see that it actually is. Let's see what the status actually is of it. You can modify it here, and you can see it's not enabled. Okay, so that's fine. Leave it disabled. Okay, and you can see this one, this right here is new right here. This was just added. This is the one we want, Steam Stable. So it did add a repo to our sources list. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Okay, so we can go ahead and X that out, minimize that, and let's try something here. Let's CD back and clear on this, and then we're going to run the standard sudo apt update and upgrade command. It should be in here somewhere. Okay, update upgrade. Okay, let's see what happens here. Now that's going to be, that Steam URL is going to be in here somewhere, right? Okay, so there's no new version of Steam. What we just downloaded must be the most current version. And then we can just kind of arrow down here and spot. Okay, there it is right there. Okay. So I did add a Steam, a URL to our sources list. Like I said, I'm not sure if this is really important because when I open Steam, it always seems to update itself. So maybe you don't really need to do it. You don't really need for this to be here. It's good to have it, certainly. Now, I'm not sure if this does the same thing as if you open Steam and it updates itself. Anyway, so this is good. We've installed Steam. Okay, so we can clear on that. And the only thing left to do, I do believe, would be to come back over to the application folders here. And there it is right there. Not in utilities, but it's in library home here. There it is there. That wasn't there before, right? What I like to do is right click on it and pin it to the dash. Okay. Then I can go ahead and close that. And then I can just launch it from here. This would be the GUI method of launching Steam. Okay, so the only things that are left to do would be to launch them. GUI method here, and then we'll go to the terminal and try to launch it that way and see what happens. Okay, let's go ahead and launch it this way here. Even though initially it seems like there's not a lot of okay, I have seen this before. Okay, so I need to do a couple more operations here. This is normal. If you see this is normal, I've seen this before. Once I get through it, it should be okay. So okay, I guess it downloaded the packages but didn't really install them, or installed some of them but not all of them. So this is going to finish off the dependencies here. So it says press return to proceed with installation. Okay, so return is enter, right? So I'm going to enter on that, prompting me to authenticate my password. Okay, and it's going to go ahead and I think it's already been downloaded. It's just going to install everything at this point. So here's kind of a list of the packages it's going to install. Suggested. Okay, everything looks good here. Don't need these optional ones here. And go ahead and just enter on that, yes, to install the dependencies. Press return to continue, okay. Okay, now it's going to go ahead and initialize itself. I'll just keep the video running so you can see what I'm looking at, because I think there's a couple of these updates that are these runtime updates that you're going to be looking at, and that's okay. This right here is what I was talking about before. So when it updates itself, maybe you don't need to have the repo URL. I'm not sure if it's the same thing or if it's two different things. But we have all the bases covered this way. And then I'll be back when it's done. Okay, so after all the Steam runtime updates, I was presented with a window to log into my Steam account. So you have to log into your Steam account to actually, get to the desktop client. So I logged in, authenticated, so I can go ahead and click, X that out, X out this little window that usually pops up to kind of highlight some deals and whatnot. So once I X those out, then I'm right in the window where I want to be, okay? I'm logged in with my account, and my Steam client is open, and we launched it by the GUI. And then, of course, all the Steam runtime updates, and so this is where I want to be right now. So this looks good, and I'm not going to get into all the, usage of it. I like to usually check the, it's kind of hard for me to really kind of figure out what version their versioning is a little weird. It's not like your traditional versioning numbers and whatnot. It's not really it's kind of hard to figure out where you're at exactly. But if all the updates are up and being applied, then I guess you can assume that you're pretty current, or you're very current. Or you look at the dates here. So yeah, this looks good here. So check your About Steam section, and just go through all the menus, all the menu items here. Probably not going to care about all of them, but get familiar with your menu bar here. Okay, and then the main ones would be like your settings. Definitely get familiar with your settings here. Okay, and then I usually use Library tab here when I want to add a non-Steam game. Usually, with a .exe or .msi extension, and then you can pick your Proton version and do some manage the launch options and whatever Proton version you want to use. So that's pretty good there, I think. Okay, so that's it. That's installing the Steam client on POP. Okay, now one more thing I want to show. X that out, is how to launch it from the terminal. Now, launching it from the GUI is always plan A for me. In case that doesn't work, in case you have launch problems and or usage problems, I would suggest getting familiar with launching Steam from the client, from the terminal. That way, if there's any launch issues and or any use issues, hopefully there'll be some output here in the back-end process, so that you can maybe use some of the output there, to debug your launch and or usage issues. So you should always try to use the terminal for Plan B. Plan A is GUI. Plan B is a terminal. And also, if you're using the terminal, you have to always have a terminal window and at least one tab dedicated to always running the front end GUI, and so it can kind of clutter your workflow up a little bit. So the back end has to run for the front end to stay running, and if you kill the front end, then the back end goes away. So they need each other. Okay, so I do believe Steam is the command to launch it from the terminal. So open your terminal here, and then just key in Steam. Just like that, and then enter on that. I think Steam is the keyword here. I do believe. Okay, good. Yeah. So that's Plan B, to launch it from the terminal. So we'll minimize that, and you can see here there's some output here. So hopefully, if you do have launch problems and or use problems, you can minimize the GUI and then come here, and if you have if it launches fine, and you have usage issues, come here and see if there's anything that's being added here when you're clicking around in the GUI and trying to do stuff. Or if it doesn't launch at all, then you'll see some output here, hopefully something meaningful that you can use to debug the situation. Otherwise, this is good. This looks good. Everything launched. This looks good to me, right? Everything looks good there. Okay. So we'll clear on that, and we'll go back to the NeoFetch real quick here as I close the video out. Okay, so I think I covered all the bases here. How to download it and install it, check the repo, and then how different ways of launching it and whatnot. Okay, so I think that's it. So that was how to install Steam on Pop! OS Linux 22.04. Okay, thank you for watching and subscribing. I look forward to your comments and your feedback. And until my next video, happy Linuxing.